What's up, crazies? Kickstarter fans, indie comic fans, I got something for you. I have indie creators in the blue room. They're ready to talk to you about their Kickstarters. They either launched it or gonna launch. So if you really, really love indie comics and you want to support the little guy and see them win, well, here's an opportunity to prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. Check this out. I'm done talking. Now it's time for the indies. Let's start it up. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, y'all. Start it up, start it up, start it up, y'all.
We have Michael Watson. Chat and Draw is the project that he's got. It's a podcast, and that's we're gonna be talking to him.
Yep. All right, we're back with Cast the Craze, and we have a very special guest on the show who's ready to launch his Kickstarter very shortly. And it's we have Michael Watson on the line. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How you doing, man?
Good. So, before we go into your Kickstarter, let's know about you. Who are you, and where'd you grow up?
Oh man, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. That is where I'm from.
Wow.
Now I live in Columbus, Ohio. I came down here for college, and I called my mom and said I ain't never coming back home.
What was it about it that you didn't want to go back?
Well, the being on my own, having my own place, quickly grew on me.
Nice.
But it was the geek and art culture in Columbus, Ohio. Albeit there is an art culture in Columbus, but me being like 18 years old, that art culture in Columbus was more for an older artist. Like if you were like in your early 30s, late 30s,
right?
That was like the age range for it. And comic book shops, there was like no comic book shops in Cleveland. there was like two, and one was like downtown, and the other one was like all the way down South Euclid. It was ridiculous. So
wow.
I didn't have a way to get comic books on a regular basis, and I come to Columbus, and there was like a comic shop on every damn corner.
Right.
Next to a Chipotle. All these kids.
Oh, two of your favorite things.
Right.
Right.
All these kids at the school, they love comic books, they love cartoons, they love anime, they love video games. Like the culture was just a young geek art culture down here, and it was just vibrant.
Nice. So, what got you into comics? What was the first comic book you ever read?
Oh, the first comic book I ever read was X. Well, no, that's a lie. I read a bunch of comic books. So a buddy of mine, Tom, he loves comic books, and I hated them. I thought they were stupid. And he said, we can't be friends unless you read comic books. Like,
nice.
It's not gonna happen. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We've been friends. We've been friends all school year. You can't just change things up because you found out I don't like comics. You're like, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. So he brought me a stack of comics, and I read through them. And I didn't like any of them until I got to the last one, which was actually X-Men number 17.
Wow.
Where the X-Men Blue Squad featuring Colossus go to Russia to fight Omega Red for the fate of Illyana.
Nice.
And it was just so cool, man. Opened up this book, and I immediately gravitated to the old knucklehead, Wolvie, and because he was like this short little dude. He was like 4 feet nothing, and he had butter knives coming out of his hands. He had like the trashiest power out of the whole team, and everybody else was so epic and magical, but they all got their butts kicked. Like they were all down, but
right.
Wolverine kept getting back up, and he was defending his friends. He had this wicked attitude, and he just was cool.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to be like that guy. Like I used to get picked on in school because I was small,
right?
And but that attitude that Wolverine had of like never giving up, always getting back up, not being pushed around, I immediately adopted that because that's how I wanted to be. I wanted to be tough like that, and that's what that was the book that made me fall in love with comic books, man. Andy Kubert was drawing his butt off. Like it was crazy. I never saw art like that, and I was like, man, this is it. I want to make comic books.
Right. So what was your first attempt at making a comic book?
Oh, we immediately plagiarized the X-Men. We had no idea. We had no no clue what we were doing. We're just like, man, we're gonna make our own X-Men stories. And then what made it worse is we sold them during lunch.
Wow.
Like, we made copies of them. We sold them during our lunch period, and our teacher saw what we were doing. She thought it was really cool that we were actually organizing this, because like Tom would write them, I would draw them, and then we'd pass it to like the girls in our class to color them. And like, I'm not trying to like do gender roles, man.
Right.
That's just what happened. All right. The girls wanted to color the books, so we let them color the books. I hated coloring.
Nice.
And we sold them. And then we ended up, our teacher ended up talking to our principal and giving us like 10 minutes after lunch every day to sell our books, to sell popcorn and candy with the comic books in our classroom.
Nice.
And like, kids would bring money just, you know, to come over to our classroom to buy the newest X-Men comic book that we made. Marvel, don't sue me. It was back in the day. We did not make that much money.
Wow. So on average, how many pages were you guys producing in this book?
Oh, we probably just about 10 pages or whatnot.
Nice. So how often did you release a new issue?
We probably did a new issue every week.
Wow.
For class or whatnot.
Nice. That's pretty dope. So, what got you into illustrations?
Voltron.
Nice.
Classic
Nice.
cartoons. I used to sit in front of the TV trying to draw the Voltron lions.
Okay, good. I was about to ask the lions or the other one. Okay.
Yeah. I tried to draw the lions and draw them as best as I could. Then the more I did that stuff, sitting in front of the TV watching cartoons, I just started drawing more and more.
Nice. So then when did you realize that you wanted to do it professionally?
In the 6th grade. My 6th grade teacher was actually pretty pivotal to my career. I was trying to decide on whether I wanted to be a comic book artist or animation guy, and she showed us a documentary on animation. And once I saw that it took like 4,000 pages to make a hand move, I said, I'm good.
I'm good.
So good. That is not the ticket. I love to draw, but not that much. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that from afar. I pulled back out my X-Men books. I was like, this is it.
That's it.
A snapshot. Like the perfect image at the perfect moment telling a story. That's it.
There you go. That's awesome. So let's fast forward. Have you ever been to a Comic-Con?
Oh yes, Comic Cons are my life. They're my bread and butter. I love them. I'm over here dying right now without comic book conventions, man.
So what was your first?
Oh, my first was Chicago, C2E2.
Nice.
Back in the day when DC and Marvel were still going to comic book conventions and setting up.
Right.
I went there on a whim. I was I was talking to my friend. I was like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna go. I forgot. I don't know what happened, but things weren't working out.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. He was like, why not? I thought you were gonna go up there to show your art and get a job for Marvel. I'm like, yeah, it's just not gonna happen. And he was like, dude, don't be dumb. Like, go up there. Like, we had a real long conversation, and I ended up calling my dude Trevor, who I was going to college with, and I was like, man, you wanna drive to Chicago and sleep in my car for 2 days? He was like, bet, let's go. And
wow.
We drove to Chicago like that moment, got in there. We got in there late. We slept in the parking lot. We washed up in the bathroom
Nice.
with wipes and soap. And I immediately went out to the Marvel line and stood in line for them to review my portfolio and give me feedback.
Wow. So what was that like? Were you nervous about getting the feedback or excited?
Oh no, I was nervous. I didn't know what they were gonna say. This is the first time I was getting like feedback from actual full-on fledged, like this is Marvel, right? This isn't my comic book teacher. This isn't my art teacher or anything like this. But they had a lot to say. They told me I needed a lot of stuff to work on, and I went home and I worked on it, and I did this. I probably did this process, repeated it for a couple of years of going up to Marvel, going up to DC, going up to any editor I could, getting feedback, going back home and redrawing it or whatnot, and then finally I felt like I got everything that they asked me for, and I came back to Chicago and stood in the line, very, very cocky. I was like, there's no way they're gonna turn me away today. Like, this is it. This is what I've been working for. And I really wish I remembered the editor's name that was looking at my stuff or whatnot, but he didn't have nothing to say, man. He kept looking at the pages and was like, man, just nodding and said yes, and then give me the the little approval sound. And closed the book and looked at me and said, "Follow me in the back." And I was like, "This is it.
This is it.
What we've been waiting for, man. I'm about to call my mom. Your boy is at Marvel. Let's go."
Let's go.
And I get to the back, and he pulls the book back out, and he's flipping through it, and still like seemingly looks like he's impressed. And he's like, "Man, like, I know you've been up here a few times. I know you've talked to a few different ones, few of us, and looks like you've done all the feedback, man. You're a great storyteller. Your anatomy's really good. You got a lot of good animation in your faces, but." I'm like, but, hold up, but, like, what are we even saying but for? You were doing so good, dude. Why are you messing up your streak? And he's like, but your style is a little too urban for us, and that's not a style that we're looking for at Marvel. And this is like, I don't know, early like 2003, 2004,
right
around that time. And I was like actually really pretty speechless, man. I didn't know what to say. I just said, "Oh, okay, all right," and took my little folder and put my tail between my legs and walked out. Super, super embarrassed because, I mean, I wasn't talking crap in line, but I felt real high and mighty.
Right.
They brought me back down to the floor really quick.
Wow.
Or whatnot, and then I sulked on it for like a day. I have a rule. I can be pissy and upset about something for one day. And then after that, I have to get up and I got to move forward and figure out how to get around it. And was like, if Marvel doesn't like my urban style or whatnot, then I'll just make my own comic books with my urban style. And it started like clicking in my head. Like, what does it even mean by urban style? Like, are you saying like when I draw black people, they look black, or my Latinos look Latino, or like when I draw Asian people, they look Asian?
Right.
That's the world I come from. Like I live in Columbus, Ohio. It's a melting pot
Right.
of diversity and all types of people. Like none of my friends were the same in college. None of them. There was no carbon copy. Everyone was unique and different. So when I draw comic books, I draw that world. I draw the world that I live in and exist in. And so, and then came Hotshot, which is actually a character I've been working on since high school, but decided to really push it and put it into its own comic book.
Nice. So let's talk about that. When you've gotten past that moment and you decided to do it, what were the steps you took to make Hotshot a reality?
Well, first off, I was like Smeagol with the ring, man. I wouldn't let anybody see it or touch it. Or like if I did let them see it, I'd hover over their shoulders while they're looking at it. Like, all right, man, looks over. All right, you got the idea.
Right.
I met this freaking kid named Victor Dandridge, and he was a big comic book guy and into comic books. I feel as much as, if not more than I am. And he looked at the stuff and thought it was really good. And I don't know what happened. Somehow he talked me into letting him read my scripts and checking out the art. I feel like he just, he slid into my DMs and sweet talked me.
Right.
But he read it and was like, man, this is good. This is good stuff, but you can do better. I'm like, what you mean I can do better? Like, hold up. First off, who are you anyway? Like, I'm doing you a favor. I'll let you see this. Nobody sees this stuff or whatnot. But that was the great thing about Victor, man. He just he didn't care.
Right.
He did not care. And he gave me a bunch of tips, talked me through it, and he actually wrote me a whole book about how to write comic books, how to write a story arc, pitch, voice, all that stuff. But he did it with writing Hotshot. He used Hotshot as a layout and pretty much wrote the first 4 or 5 issues in this thing with all these notes and breakdowns and stuff. And I'm reading and I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. Like this is such good stuff. And I closed it, and then I was like, so you're writing Hotshot now, right? This is great. This application that you just gave me is amazing. Like, we have to do this story.
Right.
He's like, no, I didn't give it to you for that. I gave it to you so you could write it, so you could learn to write. I was like, don't Don't do that, man. Nah, you didn't. Nah, you do not write 4 issues and then break it all the way down as a learning tool for somebody. This was your interview, your resume, your references, the application, the whole thing. And he fought me on it, but I eventually got him.
Nice.
And so we've been kicking it and partnering up on comic books ever since then. And he wrote the first 6 issues, 6.5 issues of Hot Shot. And we're on technically issue 11.
Nice.
Right now I just finished issue 11. I'm working on issue 12 right now. And the Hot Shot world from the foundation that Victor put in Hot Shot, we were able to spring about 4 other comic books out of that. So we're rocking around 20 issues of the Freestyle Comics universe, which is currently being co-published by Short Fuse Media Group.
Nice. So which came first, Chat and Draw or Hot Shots?
Oh, Hot Shot. Chat and Draw came during the pandemic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So your Kickstarter is your first introduction of Hot Shots to the public?
No. Hot Shot's been out for a while. We've actually done 3 re-releases for Hot Shot. Our most successful release has been under Short Fuse Media Group. Like I said, they are the co-publishers of it. And they picked me up after a very terrible experience with another publisher that shall not be named.
Wow.
And they helped me with my first Kickstarter, my first 3 Kickstarters. First we did Hot Shot, Vigilance, and then Heroes International, which all funded and all got delivered. But I've been selling the Hot Shot book for damn near 20 years.
Wow.
Wow. So we have Hot Shot, we have Vigilance, we have Heroes International, we have Emerald Quest, we have Cypher, and now we are adding Zero Event, Taijutsu Gates, and Hot Shot and Friends, and then now we're about to come out with the trade. So I've been moving it through the convention circuit, online stores, out the back of my trunk, wherever comic books can be sold. I've been selling it.
Nice. So your Kickstarter is for Chat and Draw?
Yes.
So talk about what made you decide that, hey, I want to start doing my own Chat and Draw on live podcasting. It's on YouTube.
Well, that actually comes from my start with Short Fuse Media Group. Like when I first got brought on with them, I've had lots of experiences, good and bad. And I thought I was a pretty well-rounded indie creative.
Right.
And then I met Sean Mack and Short Fuse Media Group, and they quickly smacked me in the face and told me I knew nothing. Because when we did the first Kickstarter, Sean was like, so how much money do you think you can bring in from your audience? And I was like, 4,000 or 5,000 easy. And he's like, really? All right, cool. Because I know we could probably bring, I know we can do, 3 or 4. Like, we can hit that easy. So we're talking about almost $10,000 for a Kickstarter. All right, cool. So you sure about that number? Okay. And I'm like, yeah. I'm looking like I sell my book here, I sell my book over there. And I had to learn a lot about what audience is and what sales are. A lot.
Yes.
And so that number quickly went down on my end.
Wow.
Got a little bit more realistic. And but the thing with that I learned with working with Sean and Short Fuse Media is that I had to figure out how to increase my own audience.
Right.
I have to get more interactive with the people with the community that I work in and the people that I am hoping to be fans of the book. So I was always getting online. I was always doing live streams on Facebook or Instagram, just, messing around, just trying to get, people to connect with me in some form or way. And then that carried over to my conventions, going to comic book shows. And then the pandemic hit. And the combo of what I was doing was cut off. I was like, I don't know what to do. And started, to see that other people were getting cut off from comic book shows and being at comic book stores and things like that. Because I did book signings at GameStop, comic book shops. We did video game release parties for GameStop. So I was doing all types. Like I had my books in any facet that I could put it.
Nice.
But seeing that this the public was being taken away from us, and all we had was online services. It was coming about think about how can I still interact with the audience and keep them interested in the stuff that I'm doing, but also help other indie creatives, because there's a ton of us out here, and I've met a ton of them, especially through my experience with Short Fuse, because after a year being with them, they promoted me to actual publisher of Short Fuse, and Sean moved on to be operations manager. So now I'm managing about 30 plus comic books under Short Fuse, plus my own comic books of Freestyle Comics. And I'm like, so how can I get people to see these people? And like the thing is that generally speaking, people will buy a book from you just because you're nice.
Right.
If people like you, they'll buy a book, whether your book is crappy or good.
Right.
If they like you, they'll buy a book from you just to buy it. And that's, something I picked up. Like that's one type of customer.
Right.
And then there's people that they like you, your book happens to be good.
Right.
And then, they continue to support you.
Yes.
Then you'll have, you just have these different type of people, and like, how can I reach these different type of people and help my creatives that are under Short Fuse reach these people as well, along with other ones? And I was like, man, I'm gonna do a show. I'm gonna draw their characters, and I'm gonna interview style talk to them live on the air, like just while we're talking. I'm gonna draw, let's say for example, Apex Prime. I'm gonna draw him or the Samaritan, while I'm talking to Victor Dandridge about his character. And then I told Sean, this is what I want to do. And I was like, I'm going to do it for this. And Sean's like, no, you're not. And he's like, look, you need to do this, add some of this and that. And the next thing I know, by the next day, Sean had it up available on our website. And I was like, okay, let's go. And
nice.
we were using the Short Fuse page, because we get pretty good engagement on there, to promote people for free on that page. But what they would pay for is the actual artwork that I was drawing.
Nice.
So they would come on the show. We talk. I draw the characters. We talk about some geek stuff or whatnot. And the show started picking up some pace. And we get regular people on there. I invite people to be on the show, but we've expanded out to some YouTube people, fashion design people. I actually have the owner of Black Star Collectibles coming on to the show next week, and I'm going to turn him into a comic character using his comic shop's logo live on the show.
Nice.
And it's just kind of like picked up its own steam, and I've met a ton of different creatives and their comic book characters, and just having some really good times and conversations. And before I know it, we are coming up on the 100th episode this Saturday.
Wow. And you started it this year?
Yeah, I started it in March 31st exactly.
Wow. So you're how many days a week?
At first it was like 3 or 4 days a week. And I was like, all right, this is getting a little too much. I need to wane it back some.
Right.
So we've been doing 2 episodes a week, with the occasional third or fourth episode, because I try to work with people's schedules as well.
Right. Wow.
And we had Daryl Banks on the show, and he's a legendary DC artist that drew Green Lantern.
Right.
If you were digging Green Lantern in the 90s, Daryl Banks was your man.
Right.
He was the one putting it down for you. So, I was like, man, whenever you can do it, just let me know the day. I will make the time to get you on there.
That's sweet. So a lot of it, what I'm taking from this conversation is a lot of where your journey has been going was based on a lot of mentorship, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes. So what are the top 3 things you learned from your experience with the people who had the biggest influence on you?
Oh my goodness, that's such a ridiculously good question. Because it's a lot, man. Every time I get comfortable in the indie comic scene, I find out the next day I'm learning something else.
Right.
I'd say one of the biggest things I learned is that you have to make people like you. You have to be able to connect with people and make them like you and make sure they have a good experience with you. Even if they don't buy anything from you,
right,
they will either remember you, talk you up, come back and buy something later, or they're going to help you they're going to help you sell your stuff to somebody else without them knowing.
Right.
Secondly, understanding my audience, which was a quick come to reality moment. But understanding my audience, knowing how much weight I can actually pull in, and trying to think of, all right, so how can I improve it? And genuine
Yes.
being genuine. People can tell BS from a mile away.
Yep.
And if I don't believe in what I'm doing and have fun with it, then no one else is going to believe that.
Right.
Like, I truly, truly love making comic books, being at comic book conventions. Like, I'm a pretty hefty boy. I look like I'm 6 months pregnant, so I don't miss a meal. But when I'm at a comic book convention, I can work the full 12 shifts without eating anything.
Yeah. Nice.
Like, I will say, like, I have my own little wickedly dumb traditions that my brother gets on me for. Where if it's the first day of the show, like on Saturday, if we're coming in, we slept in the hotel or whatnot, we get there Saturday, everything's set up, I'm ready to rock. I literally will not eat anything until the end of the day, because I want to be physically and mentally hungry,
Right.
to chase down what I need to do to get my books out.
Nice. Nice. So let's talk about some of the incentives and rewards on your Kickstarter for Chat and Draw.
Oh, all right. So the big thing I'm hoping to do, which is why I'm like being on your show, which thank you again very much for that platform. I'm trying to expand the audience. I want to get more comic book creators on the show. I want to get more YouTube stars on the show. Like, recently we had Inevitably Dope, who is a big TikTok YouTube guy, and he is hilarious. And I was able to reach out to him, get him on there, and I turned him into an anime character. Naruto is like his favorite jam, so I turned him into a Naruto character.
Nice.
Live on the show. And I want to reach more people by bringing on a more variety of creatives on there. Like I said, we have the owner of Black Star Collectibles coming on there, but more people, because you learn something from them.
Right.
Plus, it gets me in touch with their audience, and their audience gets in touch with mine.
Right.
So it's a co-opted share thing. So that's my big thing. That's what I'm wanting to do with it. But for the new season, which will catapult after this 100th episode in this Kickstarter, we're doing a new show intro. And this time for the new show intro, if you want to be in the intro, you can pledge for that tier on the Kickstarter. Whether that be you yourself from the episode that you were on, or your character. I'll plug that in there. The next thing that I am adding on there, which is some upgrades that we're doing to the show, which is a versus feature. We have 2 features right now that we do, where I will do a single character drawing in black and white on my iPad, or I will do a full color single character drawing on the iPad. But now we're going to add a third option, which is versus. So I want to bring a character creative on the show and have them argue with another creative about whose character is better, and I draw their 2 characters fighting. Then I have the audience decide, well, which creator do you think won this argument? Is it creator A or creative B? Who had the better points? Whose character should win? So we let them decide, but both creatives get their characters fighting in an image.
Nice.
For it or whatnot. Next up is that I have this little thing where I do, the Street Fighter thing when a new challenger comes in.
Yes. Yeah.
So we borrowed that. We lifted it. So whenever someone comes on the show, I play that little thing. A new challenger has entered the arena.
Right.
And it's classic 16-bit glory, right? And everybody enjoys it. It's fun. But this time I'm going to upgrade that to creating your own sizzle reel. So if you get that pledge, the sizzle reel pledge, I will use images of you and your comic book character and throw some music on there with some effects for your introduction. So you would get a signature introduction whenever you come on to the show.
Nice.
After that, that's some of the perks with just the actual show itself.
Right.
But with 100 episodes, I've drawn 100 characters. And so we are doing season 1, season 2, and season 3 in a full color art book, art comic book.
Nice.
And each one is a minimum of 60 pages, and it will feature all the characters I've drawn over the last 3 seasons. And we are doing some special covers. We have some variant covers in there for it. Like you can get, like I have the 3 covers for each book are wraparound covers. Those are the main covers, and I've drawn those live on the show, 5 or 6 hours for the season finales. But if you want your character featured on the cover, I'll draw up fully color and everything, and then you'll have your own chat and draw comic art book with your character on the cover.
Nice.
Doing sketchbook covers. So I'll do original artwork on a sketchbook, #1 cover for you. For that book, and get that mailed out to you and sign it and everything. So we're doing a lot of different perks. All the artwork will be available as add-on prints. So if there's like a slew of prints that you want, that you like, you can get that added on to your Kickstarter bundle. But that's the meat and potatoes of it.
Nice. I mean, number one, it's very creative, very unique. It sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like there's a lot of benefits to being a backer of your Kickstarter to the fan and the person who appreciates art and comic art. So I think it sounds really cool.
Yeah, we before I forget, I just remembered. I'm actually offering the black and white spots, the full color spots, and the Versa spots on this Kickstarter for season 4. So my plan is to fill up all of season 4 with this Kickstarter, and whatever level you pledge at, you get the art book, you get the chat and draw shirt, you get whatever swag it is. I tried to add a lot of variety to them, but you get your spot, you get confirmed, and you're locked in for the new season.
That's pretty tight. Your seasons, are they based on quarters?
Well, I did it old school. I was doing a season every 25 episoms.
Okay, there you go.
And then the 3rd season just got out of hand. We had a lot of people on, and I just couldn't keep up. And then it just got over me, and before I knew it, we were like 50 episodes in. And I was like, you know what? Wait, hold up. We're like 40 episodes in. I've done 25 here. We might as well just end it on the 100th episode.
Nice. I mean, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it severely. The side gig is that it forced me to have to get comfortable with the iPad. I've drawn a lot of different type of characters, like Stephanie Menard's character, because she writes horror stories, and I'm a complete punk, so I don't do the horror. But she has just these regular characters. They don't have muscles. They don't have capes. They're just psychotic people. And I was trying to draw them and make them look cool or whatnot. And I want to work on my female drawing, so I've drawn a lot of females on this show. I hate drawing guns, and every other episode there's a gun in the episode. So it was also to force myself to become a better artist. And because of that, I was able to draw Hotshot 10 in like a month, fully digitally, pencil layouts, pencils, and inks, all in the iPad. And now I'm on issue 11 right now. So it has been definitely a blast and a severe learning experience.
That's pretty hot, and it seems like you deal with uncertainty and being uncomfortable really well. It seems to be like a motivator for you. That's what I'm taking from this conversation.
Oh yeah, I have no stage fright at all. I have no embarrassment card. You cannot embarrass me. I would like to say I'm fearless in public. Like when the school I went to, the Cleveland School of Arts, we were literally carrying around our sketchbooks and battling each other at the drop of a dime. Nice. Like, I do not exaggerate. I am serious. Like, we could be in the hallway, and if somebody wanted to battle, we'd have to drop our sketchbooks. And because it happens so often, a person would just randomly be a referee because they knew what to do because we did this all the time. And then, whatever they said we had to draw, we'd have to draw it right then, and then the crowd decides. So nice. You had to be out there. You had to be ready to go.
Right. Sounds like MCs on a cipher. That's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's pretty dope. So now where can people get Hotshot, and how can people reach you?
So Through my publisher, shortfusemediagroup.com. You can get all the Hotshot books, Vigilance, Heroes International, soon to be released this year, Emerald Quest. You can reach me through any of my social media, which is all Most Epic Art. And you can actually, because I have a launch page for the Kickstarter, so you can find that as Chat and Draw 100. Yes. On Kickstarter, and just go ahead and click that follow button so you can find out when it will actually launch.
Yes, all the links will be in this episode, which is actually airing on Sunday. So we're doing a special Kickstarter show, and you're one of them, the talented creators that are being featured on the Kickstarter show.
Awesome.
So it's pretty dope. I mean, very talented. I'm going to hit subscribe on your channel after this, and check it out because it sounds really fascinating. And I think you have your finger on the pulse of the industry. I mean, I think what's going to set things apart is what you're doing is doing things that are different and creative, and that is desirable. It's like people will love art, and you're the fact that you've identified the engagement as one of your opportunities. You're closing that gap pretty fast. It's pretty dope.
I'm trying to, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You got it. So this was an episode of Catch the Craze, Kickstarter. Check out Hot Shots and check out Chat and Draw on Kickstarter. Hit the link below. Thanks again. And
it's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking?
Oh, he described me. He said, I'm the
You're Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. On Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.